Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream. Episode number 8 of our Elite Dangerous New Adventure playthrough series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, admin notes. As you can see, we've now changed over the live streams today. We are going to be doing our second Elite Dangerous live stream of the week. I'm finding this kind of interesting, having one of these Thursday evening and then another one on Saturday. When I mentioned in my videos that I'll be doing something off stream, I'm constantly thinking in the back of my head that I've got a week to prepare for the next one, and I really only have a day on Friday evening, so it's certainly interesting how these things work out. But we've now got our second live stream started. We're going to continue along this same vein for the foreseeable future. I am on the Discord for Celesta 2 a couple of times a week. I do monitor it and am checking to see when the Q3 update releases, or if they just release any other content updates. As they do, I will obviously report on them here. Whether or not we switch back to Celesta 2 content is really going to depend on what the content of the update is. The Q3 update is really meant to focus on multiplayer. I don't do that live on stream. I'm considering it when we get to the actual release of Celesta 2, that I may invite channel members and longtime supporters of the channel to see if they want to play in a multiplayer opportunity, and then we'd obviously discuss if they want that to be live or if they want that to be recorded and then posted. So, but it's something I'm toying with. But we'll kind of see, like I say, what that update is. If it's just multiplayer, then I don't think I'm gonna restart a new playthrough in Celesta 2. I will probably wait until the Q4 update, which is supposed to increase the level cap and add a new class into the game. And if those things hold true to form, then and as well as adding new content into what they're calling a little bit of Act 2. Don't know entirely what that means, but I will kind of see how this goes by paying attention to the Discord, and any major updates that go along with it, I'll be sure to let y'all know. And then we will see if we want to transition back to it at some point. But for now, we're going to be getting 2 doses of Elite Dangerous during the week. So I think that covers us on admin notes. So I want to recap last week, or not last week, on Thursday, we started material gathering, and we started with raw materials. I went out, I showed you the Braintree farming sites, I showed you how to farm them in your SRV, and I did mention the quote-unquote meta farming method for it, which I just can't stand. But I did mention that as well, and we got a first kind of introduction to that gameplay loop and how to gather it. There are 2 more sets of materials that we need to focus on gathering for engineering, and that's what we're going to be looking at today, because they are entirely different gameplay loops, and you don't have to leave the bubble for them. So let's go ahead and jump in, because I do want to mention one other thing about what we did on Thursday as well. So again, while you're farming, especially for the one that we're about to start with today, you absolutely want to be in solo play for this. Okay, so here we are in the game. I'm going to change over to my other display here real quick, and we're going to bring up Material Helper. So off stream, I did go back to each of the locations and made sure that I filled up. I said I was going to do that off stream, and I did. We are now full on everything except some grade 3s where we were a little short last time. You don't need the grade 3s as much as you do the grade 4s, so I'm going to leave these kind of where they are rather than trading these down and being more short on the grade 4s. So we are complete. There was one thing that I mentioned last week, last week. I'm going to say that a lot. On Thursday about selenium. Selenium, I told you that the loot table for it is broken, and it is. It shows up with lower grade in the same type of formations as lower grade materials do. So it becomes more of a pain to farm. One thing that happened though was we were only able to fill up selenium to 100. And I attributed that to it also being treated as a grade 5, and I completely forgot about a bug. Like I say, I haven't run into this since I first filled up in the game, because I'm never really below 100 of any of these levels on any of these materials. But there is a bug in the game while you are out there farming, and that bug is that sometimes it will cap you in game. If you start with 0, it will cap you in game at 100. Don't know why that bug is there. It's been there literally for years and years. So that's what happened. It capped us at 100 and it stopped. I ran into it when I was out there getting tellurium as well, and I was like, wait a minute, I know tellurium's not broken, so what's happened? And then I remembered the bug. To fix it, it's an easy fix. What you have to do, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Just log out to the main menu and log back in. Once you do, it will reset that upper limit to 150. That's why it shows 150 in here, and I currently have 150, even though last week we were stuck at 100 on selenium. It showed 150 was the max, but I only had 100, but when you looked in game, it showed a max of 100. And that's just that bug manifesting itself in the game, and I just forgot about it since it's been so long since I've really done any of that. So quick and easy fix, just log out to the main menu, log right back in, and it will reset it, and you can go on farming to get to that full number. So as you can see, we are really almost entirely full on raw materials. So the second set of materials is right here, and these are encoded materials is what they're called in the game, but it's data that you can pick up. This is not something that is farmed by picking up materials. It's farmed by doing a few different gameplay loops, and if we go and we just hover over one, for instance, inside Material Helper, you can see some of the things, some of the gameplay loops that you would have to go through to where to find them. Okay, so if you, for abnormal compact emissions data, you can scan combat ships. Now to scan a ship, all you have to do is get in behind, or get up close to it, hold it in the center of your HUD for a while, and it will scan the ship. And if you're in a location and it's the type of ship that's needed, you will download some types of data about it. So pirate ships and resource extraction sites, it gives as an example. Scan authority ships, these are the police ships that you can find, and data beacons found in encoded missions. If you go to different ones here, it may pop up a different way to find them. Okay, you can wake scan high wakes. Now we've done this before when we had the power weekly activity to go scan ships and wakes. We went into a nav beacon and went in and scanned scanned the ships and scanned some wakes, and that got us some data while at the same time finishing that activity. There is another way to scan ships, and that's with distribution centers and famine systems. I'm not going to go into all of these alternate methods in depth, but suffice to say that you can go into Inara, you can search for a system that where the controlling faction is in famine and no other state, meaning that they can't just be have famine as one of the multiple states that they're in, and it being a high population system as well. So you want to scan for anything normally over, well, the highest population you get. I start at 10 million. If none show up, I drop it to 5. If none show up, I drop it to 1. And sometimes when you drop into that system, there will be a distribution center. It's basically like 8 Type 9 heavy haulers in there, and ships just constantly jump in, fly up to the ships, transfer some food from them, and jump out. And it happens hundreds of times in an hour. So there's a lot of stuff you can fly around and scan wakes and scan ships and that sort of stuff. That used to be the meta way of doing it. Now it's really more about trading. And that's what we're going to talk about today when it comes to gathering these. Because again, we are not going to do all of these hack mega ship terminals. It simply just takes too long. You can certainly explore them, and I've gone through all of these gameplay loops. Like I say, it just takes too long to do it, and I'm not interested in making this grind super long at the expense of just sheer boredom of me trying to fly around and do all of these things. So we're going to look at what currently is the quickest way to do this. Now you can see I'm full up on a bunch of these lower level ones, even some of the mid-level ones. And that's because I've been out here twice, I think, before to check out, make sure this gameplay loop still worked and all of that sort of stuff. So this is again going to be relying, like we did up here, on gathering the higher level materials and trading those down to the lower levels. So before you go out and do this, you need to make sure that these two here, atypical encryption archives and adaptive encryptors capture, are completely empty. You want to trade everything you have on those down to the other groups. Okay? And in this case, I told you it was bad to cross the lines and to go up. It's still bad to cross the lines and go up, but in this case, I want you to trade these down and across lines. So use the atypicals to trade down to the lower levels across lines, as low as you can get it, and then use the adaptives to trade into the higher levels that are across the lines. Okay, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So use the atypicals to trade down into the lower levels as much as you can and fill those up, and use the adaptives to trade into the other grade 5s. So how do we go about collecting those two? Well, let's jump back into the game and we will bring up our map here. And I have a system that's bookmarked. And it's the HIP 12099 system, Planet 1B. There is a crashed ship there. Now, Jameson, there's a lot of lore in the game about Jameson. Jameson Memorial was the name of the one of the star stations inside of the Shinrarta Desra system that we got access to when we became elite level in exploration. There's a lot of lore about Jameson, and this is actually the location where he died. His ship crashed and there's a bunch of beacons there that explain some lore about what happened to him at that crash. Actually, I don't know if he died here or not. I don't want to say that wrong. I can't remember if he died there or if he was just stranded there for a while. But you're going to collect some lore about Jameson at this location. It's a pretty famous site, but there's something else about it that makes it special. So we're going to plot a route here, and it's only going to be 2 jumps for us. This station is only 191 light years away, so actually that should be 3 jumps. Yeah, it's 3 jumps. Before I do that, though, I'm going to go up to my mail. I want to see how far back it was. Okay, here they are. So this is the first time that I went out there. Okay, and there are 4 logs that you can collect out here. These are going to pop up in your mail when you start scanning these beacons. I've already got them all, so it's not going to pop up, but I want to make sure that I highlight them so that you can read through them. But these are logs that he sent back to his family while he was out there. And it kind of lists what happened while he was out there in these logs that he sent back to his son. So I don't have much time. There's a big old planet in my viewport, and it's getting bigger by the second. People will talk about what I did after I'm gone. So he landed, and he says, "I'm coming home, kiddo. I'm coming home." So he made it out. Like I say, I didn't want to get that wrong. But this is where his... oh no, that was level 4. Or yeah, this is... Yeah. So he did not come back at this location. So he was out exploring. He got ambushed by pirates. He made his escape. And then he was ambushed by the Thargoids. And he learned about what was happening out here. They're doing me a favor by burying me out here in the black. So these logs are here. These logs are also going to show up in your codex, I believe. Yeah. So these also show up in your codex back here, and you can play them or you can listen to them out here, but they're listed under Thargoid because this was the first encounter with them, so to speak. So it's also saved in there as we go, but I wanted to highlight them because you're not going to see them pop up since I've already been out there and done this. Hey, welcome. Hey, I responded to your email or to your comment on the video. Let me know. I'm kind of interested in the things that have happened to you because, like I say, none of those things have necessarily happened to me. So I know it's a little frustrating, but I'm kind of interested to find out what's causing it and maybe a way to avoid it. But let me know one way or another. So, we're gonna head out to this destination out here. So let's go ahead and launch. Because again, we have cleared out our data.
Detachment confirmed. Depart safely from the station.
Panther Clipper is leaving. One of the biggest ships in the game, and we'll be buying one of those actually fairly quickly, I assume. I decided not to buy one during the community goal, but we'll wait and see if we get a community goal that's all about cargo hauling a little more than this one was. But I want to have it engineered because it flies like
You
a
are now
brick.
clear of station perimeter. Goodbye, Commander.
It flies like a blue whale. It is just not maneuverable at all. And if you're hauling a bunch of expensive cargo, you're going to get interdicted by pirates quite a bit, and you want to be able to avoid that.
System scan complete.
And I'm still getting into systems where I haven't been before, and that you're going to continue to do that throughout your entire career playing this game. But I am taking the opportunity to go to Liangri stations, like this one is here in the place we're going, and selling off my stellar cartography data periodically. So that way, if something happens and I die, I don't waste a bunch of that data. I'm getting some credits for it, so.
Fuel scoping. Frameshift drive charged.
Alright, so let's jump in here, and we'll head to the planet, and we'll kind of take a look at what we're going to be doing. So it's behind us. About 1.1k out. Whoops. Wasn't paying attention at the time there. Need to slow down a little bit more. You need to slow down, just go off axis and, point away from it and you'll start slowing down. So there's the planet there in front of us. As you get closer to it, you're going to see the Jameson crash site. And that's what you want to lock. And as we make our approach, we're going to start slowing down a little bit. If it is on the front side of the planet, we don't want to be over speed here. And it looks like it is on the front side of the planet, so we want to watch our speed as we come in. Oh, nope, there it goes. It's on the back. So I orient myself this way so I can easily look up at it. It's a lot harder to look down. This ship is pretty easy. It's got a big window down there underneath us. A lot of ships, you can't even look down underneath it. So as I circumnavigate the planet, it's just easier for me to be able to look up. Most ships have a way to look up. Panther Clipper that we just talked about, you can't. So in that case, I orient it to the sides so I can look out my side windows. Okay, we're coming in pretty fast and pretty steep, but we'll be good. So we'll just make our approach here. once you drop out of glide, the blue grid is going to go away. That's obviously because I've DSS'd this planet. You're going to have to DSS it. I think you have to DSS it. Well, I can't remember. Yeah, I think you do have to DSS this one for the Jameson crash site to show up. So if you get here and it doesn't show up, pull out your discovery scanner and DSS the planet. Okay, now we're at night. This is very often going to be the case when you get here. Night makes it a little bit harder, but not necessarily. It's just a little harder to see what you're looking, the beacons that you're looking for. So you can see here, and I'm going to turn on my lights. You can see here a crash sidewinder. Okay, this is where John Jameson crashed after he was interdicted by the Thargoids. So there are some things here. You can get out on foot and you can go looking around this site. There are some other things that you can collect in your SRV. There are cargo pods out here that you can pick up with your SRV, and they'll have some various commodities in them. They actually aren't going to show up on our actually there's a limpet canister. If you want to grab a limpet, you can. There's a canister down here which is showing up because we're close enough to it. You have to get pretty close to these for them to show up in your contacts panel. But see, there are some things here. There's some beryllium. So you can pick up some canisters here and you can go sell these as commodities. They're just not worth it. It's just a waste of time. So it's not really worth it to do anything with them. Now, we are not going to get out of our ship here. And that's because scanning the beacons here is much faster inside of a ship than in your SRV. So you can look over at the right-hand side under primary. We have a wake scanner and a data link scanner. The data link scanner is what we're going to be using to scan these beacons. The same data link scanner is what we were using inside our SRV to scan the Guardian pillars. And you saw it takes like 5 seconds or 7 seconds or something like that to scan each one of them. You're going to see that the data link scanner in your ship is a lot faster than the ones in your SRV. It's just a little bit harder when you're in really grouped up areas like where we were with those pillars to get your ship close enough and get it oriented well enough to be able to scan those things as fast as you can do in the SRV by just going forward and backwards and moving your turret. Here, the exact opposite is true. The terrain is a little bit bumpy at the start, but you also have these rocks that are blocking your way in and these canisters and more rocks up here. So driving your SRV around here takes a bit to maneuver around it, and the scanner is slower. So you can do these in your ship. And if you start from the front of the ship and work your way around counterclockwise, you've got one here, and when you get close enough you can see the gray diamond that popped up. Now it's out of range. Now it's within range. And you can select it and it'll say comms control. Okay, so there's one here, there's two, there's three, there's four, there's five. In the middle, there's 6, there's 7, and then around the right hand side, there's 8, and there's 9. So there are 9 of these beacons out here for you to scan. Now, It's actually a bit harder for me with my engines at full during this. I tend to fly way out like I did when I was backing up there, so I tend to take some pips out of my engines just to slow me down a little bit, because I need to be a little bit more precise in here. But you do want to have a shield. You're going to run into the ground out here. It's just how it works. But your shield can be replenished. So what I normally do is set all of my pips to systems, which is my shields, and 2 to my engines. And I approach the first beacon, select it. Now when I have my wake scanner on the same button as my data link scanner, but I know that I'm never going to be using those to scan the same thing at the same time, so I'm going to get an error when I scan it saying that this thing can only be used in Super Cruise, but the data link scanner is still going to be running. Okay. Now, up in the top right-hand corner, it's going to give me I'm unable to collect some data. That's because you're going to get low-level data here in addition to the grade 4 and grade 5. So I've already filled up on all of those low-level datas, and I can't trade those low-level datas to anything else because I'm already full on those. So once you've come out here a couple of times, you're going to get that error every time. But you also saw something else pop up in blue below it. So let's go to our next one. We'll scan it. And we'll watch up there in the corner again. We got an intel package that was created there. And then this one, we got an intel package. And there we received some data, and they're cracked industrial firmware. You can see that we're collecting encoded data. So this is number 5. This is number 6. Number 7. Here's number 8. And I must have missed one here. I don't know which one I missed. If you go up to it and you select it, if you scanned it, it will say it won't let you do it again. So I've gotten all of those. Did I miss one? I already got it. Already got it. Already got it. Already got it. No, I must have just miscounted. Okay. So, one round through there. Let's bring up our display again. And you can see what's happened. We now have 96 atypical encryption archives. So we traded all of these away, and that one, like 30 seconds there, we got 96 of them. We didn't get any adaptive encryptors captures this time, which is unfortunate. But we did get some more cracked industrial firmware, and this row down here, cracked industrial, I don't trade anything into. So when I'm using these to trade down, don't trade into this because you're going to get some of this when you're out here as well. Okay? So use these to trade down into all the others that are up here, but don't trade it into cracked industrial firmware until the very end. Because like I say, you're going to pick up a few of these while you're out here. Okay, so back to the game. So now that we've done this, what I normally do is head back to the start of this. Exit to the main menu. Load back in. And then once you're back in, all of them will have reset. And if we look up in there in the upper right hand corner, there we got some adaptive, some cracked. So now we're getting some more of the higher tier ones. So that was 1. This is 2. This is 3. 4.
Scan detected.
5. 6. 7.
8. Under attack.
Oh, okay. Okay, what am I stuck on? I may actually end up dying here.
Frame shield drive charging.
87% whole. Come on, FSD. At least I'm able to boost away from them. And the guy who's in range only has lasers. So that was a pirate that scanned me. And remember, you normally don't have to worry about that. But I do have a Titan drive component in my inventory because I don't have anywhere else to put it.
Shields online.
So I get pirates that pop out and want to hijack that cargo from me. So this is one of the things I kept forgetting about because I don't have a fleet carrier on this character. I don't have a place to store any of that sort of stuff. So until I want to use it, I have to keep it in my inventory. I normally don't have to worry about pirates that much, and I just completely forgot about the fact that I still have it. So I'm okay here, but it does mean that I have to re-land at the site. Yeah, just wasn't expecting that. Normally when I see it, and I need to offset down here so I can make an approach, because you can't approach a planet straight down. Normally when I see that ship scan thing, the only reason that ships jump in and scan you is if they're pirates. Here at Jameson, security forces don't do that. Security forces will do that at certain other types of installations, but not at Jameson. So if you get scanned and you have cargo that they may want to steal, immediately start boosting out while you have time.
Orbital flight engaged.
So always interesting. Always interesting. And I'm saving that Titan drive component. I normally farm 2 when I go out to the Titan corpses to farm, and I was just holding it on because I don't know what size of FSD I want to buy next. I was thinking about buying the 7, but that would be for the Panther Clipper, which I just probably should go do. But I also need data mined wake exceptions, which I have to get here at Jameson. And I didn't want to do that before I started going through this farming mechanic. So we'll just see if anybody pops in. If they pop in, then I will just jettison this thing and I'll go farm up another one later. If they keep interrupting this loop. Now, during the day, it's a little easier to find these beacons. And that's because they have flashing red lights on top of them. So 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. Oh, no wonder I forgot to reset. Like, why am I flying around so fast? 8. And this one, if you have trouble seeing it, you can go into night vision, or you can turn your lights on. That's 9. Okay, so we're getting a lot of unable to store data, but we are still collecting cracked industrial. So I don't see any ships on the sensor bubble. So let's quickly go to our display, and now you can see we're completely full here. Okay, so both of these are completely full up, so we need to go trade them. So again, if we go back up here to the top, the nearest location to us right now is Ray Gateway at Diaguandri. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. We're going to go to Diaguandri. I don't think I've been to Diaguandri yet. And we'll hold our way to get there. I'm going to retract my hard points. Boost away, because I don't think that's behind the planet. Okay, so we'll go into Super Cruise, boost away from the planet real quick, and then
4, 3, 2,
we'll loop around. Okay, and this should only be 2 jumps to get there. Yeah. So it'll save you a little bit of time going to Ray Gateway as opposed to back to my home station where I have the bookmark. I bookmark the ones near my home station so that before I go out on a farming run, I can trade everything down. I don't normally bookmark these ones that I'm only going to use every so often. Because normally I don't have to come in here and trade down all the time. I'm just coming out here to pop, top things off.
Frameshift drive charging.
Diaguandries are a fairly popular location as well.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna look for a ray gateway
Fuel scoping.
right there. It's a really popular location here. A lot of pilots end up in Diaguandry at one point or another. Okay, so it doesn't look like we're getting tracked by pirates. We'll offset, see what side the planet ray gateway's on. I think it's on the far side. Yeah, it is. Okay, so when we make our approach, we'll need to be looped around the back side of it. Which that should be good. Rotate and try and line up better with the mail slot. And hey, I'm sorry I missed your comment while I was kind of explaining all that sort of stuff. Yeah, if there's any time that you have any issues, obviously I can't get into. I don't have the Pilots Federation permit anymore for those beginning stations, those beginning systems. But once you're out of there, if you ever have any issues with any of the gameplay loops or something's looks like it's going wrong, let me know. And I'll see if we can arrange a time to hop in. Yeah, I'm always around to help out my longtime channel supporters. So, and I know it can be frustrating. I try and help out new players as much as I can, but there is a learning curve to it, like you say, and sometimes I do gloss over some things that people tend to take for granted, or I tend to take for granted. So, if there are issues going on, yeah, let me know. I can help out.
Landing gear deployed.
Okay, so we're going to do some repairs from bumping into the ground all the time, or from getting shot at, I guess, by the pirates. And here we're going to go to contacts, and we're going to have a material trader here. Actually, while I'm here, let's see if I have any outstanding fines. I do not. Okay, good. So we'll go to the material trader. And you can see all of the right-hand side is grayed out because we don't have any of it. Okay. So what we're going to do is, again, we're collecting cracked industrial firmware on our own. So don't trade into that. We're going to use the atypical encryption archives to trade into these lower ones here. So we'll trade from this one. And you can see that 2 of these are going to get us 3 unidentified scan archives. So if we use all of these, 150 of those are going to get us 225 of those. It's a max of 250. Okay, so now we've almost filled that entire one up, and just by that one trip that we made out there. So you can kind of see how many trips it's going to take you, so to speak, to get out there and back. Trust me when I say this is still by far the fastest way to do this. Okay. Now, adaptive encryptors capture, I need some data mined wake exceptions right now. So you can see 6 of these are going to get me 1. That's the penalty for trading directly across that line. 6 adaptive encryptors capture only get me 1 data mined wake exception. Okay, so I'm only going to get 16 of these. Right? So now you can kind of see the max is 100. And you're getting a maximum of 16 for each trip that you make out there. So that's about 6 1/4 trips you need to make for every one of these grade 5s. Okay, so if we confirm that trade, so that's 6.5 here, and that's 6.5 for all of these. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types. So that works out to be around 38 trips back and forth to trade these things around to get full on all grade 5 materials. Now, in those 38 trips, you're going to have traded all the atypical encryption archives into these others, and you'll have filled up on all of the grade 1 through 4 materials from these in that same 38 trips. Okay, so that's kind of how this gameplay loop works. Is you are flying out there, you're scanning it until you're full on the grade 5 adaptive encryptors capture, and then you come back here and trade them, go back out and fill up again. Now when you traded that 16 over, you're going to be left over with 4. Now what I normally do is take those 4 and I trade them into one of the other lower ones. So here 2 of them are going to get me 9. So that gets me 243, and I'm almost entirely full on that one as well. Okay, so that's kind of how this process is going to work. So it's much quicker. The total turnaround time for each of these is about 20 minutes. So if you divide that out, it works out to be about 12 hours of gameplay, give or take, to grind out all of your encoded materials, right? So it's about the same as what the raw materials were as well. So it's we're kind of seeing a pattern here on how these materials work, okay? So I'm not gonna obviously farm up the rest of that. I'm gonna do the rest of these off stream, and when we come back next week, we will be entirely full of encoded materials as well. We do have a tech broker here. I don't know which one he is. Okay, he's the Guardian tech broker, so this isn't gonna be of any use to me. I was gonna see if I had all the materials to actually buy. Well, let's find out. We can do that really easily here. So we've gone back in here. So our wish list for our ships. Oh yeah, we don't have our... We're going to go over here to ships. Go to core internals. Go to frame shift drive. Oh, it's not under core internals, it's under tech broker blueprints, human modules. The 7A version of this, I still need 2 electrochemical arrays. Those are pretty easy to get. So let me see if I can trade these down. So these electrochemical arrays, if I go to my materials and I go down here to the manufactured, materials. Where are electrochemical arrays? Right here. So I do have 2 polymer capacitors available to trade these down. Before we go out there, let's go to our manufactured material trader. We're going to trade that down. We're going to get those last 2 components. I need to be able to buy this, and I'm going to buy one. It's going to put it in my storage, and that way I'm not hauling around valuable cargo anymore. And I don't have to worry about being interrupted by pirates while I'm doing the next gameplay loop here. So we'll just take a quick break here and go do this real quick. Because, yeah, I don't want to be interrupted by pirates while I'm in one of these other locations that we're about to go to.
Speed restrictions are now lifted. Until next time, Commander.
And again, that's something that makes the EV material helper application so valuable, is kind of a one-stop shop for all of your module unlock needs and component needs and locations on where to go to trade these things down or to unlock them or buy them. It lists them all inside that app, so I really think it's an indispensable part of this section of the game while you're trying to unlock modules and gather materials. It's really a huge help. Okay, and yeah, I'm looking over at my display, and it's already popped up where the nearest technology broker is, where I'll be able to buy this thing. So, yeah, it's a big help. Okay, so let's head in here. Who just jumped in? Dolphin. Not many pirates flying around luxury liners, so not too worried. I think this is on the front side. Nope, it's on the back. It's kind of down to the lower left-hand corner. So yeah, the reason you circle around like this is, one, to, like I said, to line up with the mail slot better. Looking at the icon, the station outline on the bottom left there. But also, if you approach and you go past the planet, it's going to really slow you down, and it's going to take a lot longer to get within approach distance to the station. So you want to keep that time at 6 or 7 seconds. If it goes higher than that, then you're just extending your time and wasting time making your approach. So let's land here at Willis.
Flight Operations Department, please comply with established docking procedures, Commander. Access granted. Set down on landing pad 20.
Okay, 20s down below us.
Landing gear deployed.
Okay, so let's go to our material trader here.
Contact clear to disembark. Welcome to our starboard, Commander.
And this is manufactured, which we're going to go do here in a second. But we're looking for electrochemical arrays. So we needed 14 of those. And we now have 18. So now if I change over to my other display, you see here we're all green, and it tells me where the nearest broker is. So I'm going to copy that back to my map. And it's right here. We haven't been there yet. The way you know you haven't been there yet is that there's no system map. So let's jump in, and we're going to be looking for Copernicus Sanctuary. And we'll get this Titan drive component out of my cargo hold. It's been here for
Ship restraints
a few weeks now.
Departure authorized.
I don't mind the pirates, but they just get annoying. This ship is incredibly maneuverable, so there's no real chance of losing an interdiction, and I just wasn't paying attention down there on the surface when I noticed it scan me, or else I would have jumped out as quick as I could. And I wasn't expecting 2 ships either. He brought backup. So I took my shields down pretty quick. Lasers are good against shields, or thermal damage is good against shields. Ballistic damage is good against armor. And then plasma damage is kind of mediocre against, it's medium against both damage, or against both types. So, look for Copernicus Sanctuary. Oh, and this is a Dido station. Don't see these very often. Yeah, Dido stations are, you've been able to see, they're kind of based around the Copernican solids. This is the dodecahedron, which is a 12-sided station. If you're a D&D fan, you know what a D12 is. You don't see these very often. Normally these are in when they were added into via settlement, so a player could have arranged to have this built. They were pretty rare beforehand, but now you see them quite a bit. I think this one's down below, a little bit around the back. Probably be getting a little slow down here. They cut that a little short. No, all right. Docking.
Sorgon Peterson, India Romeo uniform. This port operates under federal jurisdiction. You must submit a request before landing. Access granted. Your assigned landing pad is number 26.
Okay, so 26. Can't see it, must be below us. Yep, it is. The bearing indicator shows it to be below us. Alright, so let's buy this thing real quick. It'll go into storage here. I can transfer it to my main station later for a
Landing
small...
operation complete. Securing ship. Station facilities are at your disposal, Commander.
Okay, so we're going to go to outfitting, and we're going to buy the Class 7 version of this, and we should have everything that we need. Those electric chemical arrays were and the data mined wake exceptions were the things that we were missing. So we're going to unlock this one, and that's going to put 1 copy of it, added 1 to my storage, just like last time. And like I say, I don't have a ship that will use it yet, but my next one probably will. So now if I go to my inventory, I don't have any cargo. So even if a pirate jumps in and scans me, he's got no reason to attack me. So we talked about now, let me jump over to my other display. We talked about the first 2 material types. Raw, we're full on. Next week, we're going to be full up on the data here. I will make all those 38 runs and fill this up. The last set of engineering materials is this group here, and you can see it's a much larger group. Okay, we have, I think there's 11 types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 types of materials here, ranging in grade from grade 1 to grade 5. So this is the longer grind here, and it's not longer because it's difficult necessarily. It's just longer because of the sheer volume of stuff that you have to try and find. And the methodology that you need to use to find it. So the absolute first thing to know is we're going to do just like we've done with the other 2 sets of materials. We're only going to be focusing on the grade 5 materials, and we're going to trade those down to everything else. So the first thing that we need to do from here is to get all of these down to zeros. Okay, we're going to trade everything down as far as we can, and we're going to pay special attention to proto-light alloys and proto-radiolic. We always want those to be 0 before we go out. In one of the locations, you're not going to be getting just grade 5. You're also going to be getting grade 4. So we want those 2 to be completely empty. And then there's another one here with I've got to try and remember. I'll remember it here in a second. But there's another one that we want to do the same thing with. I think it's proprietary composites and but I can't remember. So we'll look at it here in a second. But these 2, you definitely want to keep both empty. But all of our grade 5s, we want to be empty. And we're going to do the same thing with proto-light. We're going to take those and we're going to cross-trade them down into the lower ones as we gather them. But for now, let's find our nearest material trader and trade all of these down. So the nearest one is right where we were back at Willis City. And let's head out. So we've seen find the location, get out in your SRV and shoot the materials type of gameplay loop. We saw the scan from your ship type of gameplay loop. Now we're going to see a third type of gameplay loop. And when I get to the station here, before I do anything else, I'm going to make sure that I fill something up. And this is, amongst longtime players, this is a meme. They actually turned it into a meme in the game, which is actually pretty funny. But it's a very popular meme. And I'll explain it when we get there. Because you don't want to do this gameplay loop without it. Ooh, and I need to see how my ship's outfitted. I didn't think about that. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to my home station after this because I forgot. I was running relics for the community goal, and it was at 120, so I wanted to max my cargo space. So I left I traded a module out and left it in storage over there, and I'm gonna need it for this. So once we trade down, we're gonna head back to Hagner City real quick just to swap that out. And I know that Willis is around the backside here. That should be good. Okay, so let's make our approach and land here. And yeah, griefers don't need a reason. They are a part of the game, though. Nobody really appreciates them, nobody really likes them, but there are people who just want to watch the world burn. There are trolls in every game, so... Sevens up here. Okay, so let's go to the material trader here, and we will trade all of these down.
Landing successful. Dispatching ground crew. Welcome, Commander.
Okay, so I'm full on chemical storage units. I'm not full here. Okay. So we're going to be going to get more pharmaceutical isolators, but I'm not really interested in trading those down. Okay, so we're all out of those. Okay, so those are done. Okay, and all these materials I've gotten from the rewards from finishing my power play weekly requirements, and from which helps me level up, which then I get the mini care packages, which is where these have been coming from. So I haven't gone out and collected any of these myself. These have just been rewards. You can see I filled up those bottom two with less than 15 core dynamics composites. So don't go farming for these. don't do that. It's a waste. Trading down is by far the better way to go. It takes 3 of those to get 243 out of the 300 for crystal shards. $9 to fill that one up. Okay, last ones here. Okay, so now Proto-Light, Proto-Radiolic, and all of the other grade 5, except for Pharmaceutical Isolators, are completely empty. And that's because I had actually farmed Pharmaceutical Isolators once before. This is the one that I actually did some farming, and that's because I needed the chemical manipulators. Or the, sorry, chemical processors to buy those, the FSDs. You need 18 of these for each one of them you purchase. So when I was buying that first one, I needed to farm these to do it. So I went out and farmed some Pharmaceutical Isolators first. Just enough to get me those there. So now I'm ready to head out. So let's go to our home station so we can trade that module out and do the meme here.
Ship restraints withdrawn. Restrict speed until clear of the station perimeter.
Because I did forget about this. I should have prepped my ship for this a little better. Before the live stream, I just forgot about it when I when I finished up last night.
You are clear of the station. Flight control out.
So we'll land here real quick, go to outfitting, put this module back on, and then we can explain how do we find these materials. Because it's, again, an entirely different gameplay loop than what you've seen previously. Okay, I'm pretty sure Hagnir's up there at the top on the near side. Nope, it's moved to the back side. It's orbited. Let's get around the back side here. there's the new lighting update that they put out a few weeks ago. All of these reflections from the stars and that sort of stuff. They did a major overhaul of how the light from the stars impacts planets and stations both. Well, everything really, so asteroids, your ships, all of that sort of stuff. They did a major overhaul of that. 22 is here. Alright, so let's go to outfitting.
Contact confirmed. Ground crew dispatched.
Because there is a module that you'll want here before you go do this gameplay loop. It's not 100% necessary, but trust me when I say it's 99% necessary. I'm going to do two things when I'm here. First, I'm going to go to my stored modules, go to my core internals. I have this FSD. It's in Tashitter. I want to transfer it, so it's going to cost me 100 credits, and it's going to take me 9 minutes to transfer it here. And that way it's stored at my main location. This one is... Oh yeah, this is out at the material trader where we bought our previous FSD, so I'm going to transfer this one back here as well. So that way I've got them both back here at Hagner to be able to use. So I'm going to go to my optional internal. What I did was I added in this cargo rack here. So I'm going to replace this module with my collector limpet controller. I'm going to store that cargo rack. Okay, and then I'm going to... I took off my FSD booster to get extra cargo. So I'm going to put my FSD booster back on. Now we're back up to that 75, 64 fully laden. So let's go look at our fire groups, because I added that collector limpet, and I'm going to put this on my second fire group here, on my secondary fire key. So now before you leave, we need the meme here. So go to Starport Services, go to Advanced Maintenance. We're going to fix our ship, but just for the heck of it. And here is where you restock limpets. The limpet controller does not work without limpets. Limpets take cargo space. Okay? Now, when you're out, like, mining and things like that, the limpets take cargo space, but the materials that you gather while you're mining also take cargo space. So there's a delicate balance there between taking the correct number of limpets out there versus the having space for the stuff that you're going to be mining to bring back. Otherwise, you're just jettisoning limpets to get rid of them because you need that space for more valuable stuff. Here, since the materials that we're gathering don't take cargo space, you can just fill completely up on your limpets. You're not going to need all of these, but you don't have to think about it. And they're cheap, so just get full up on your limpets before you leave. Okay. Now that does take our jump range down to the minimum. We're at 64.19 light years now. But again, that's why we loaded back up with that FSD booster to help that. So where are we going? So let's go back to our display here, and we'll start with the hardest one in the game, actually, because it's at the top of this list, and that's pharmaceutical isolators. We're going to be farming something called HGEs, or high-grade emissions. And we need these high-grade emissions only appear under very specific circumstances in very specific locations. So to find that, we're going to bring up a new tab with the wiki for high-grade emissions. Okay. If you scroll down, there are high-grade emissions in these 8 different types of locations. Okay. So yeah, there are the other ones that, so proto radiolic, proto heat, and proto light you're going to farm at this one. Military grade alloys and military supercapacitors, which are here and here, 2 grade 5s. You're going to farm at this type of location. Core dynamics composites and proprietary composites. So core dynamics composites and proprietary. So this is the other one with a grade 4. So once you fill up, trade down on the grade 4s, fill up the grade 4 as much as you can, and then go back and try and farming them again. Just like proto light and proto radiolic, that's the group that you're going to find in the same signal source. That's grade 4 and grade 5. But they have different types of requirements for where these signals are going to spawn. And there's something unique about it in that these are in an order. So, for instance, if you're looking to farm core dynamics composites, you're going to go to a federal system. Okay? The federal system, the likelihood of an HGE spawning is based upon population. So you want to go to the higher populated systems. So finding federal systems are easy. You know, roughly 1/3 of the systems out there are federal, 1/3 are imperial, 1/3 are independent. It's not really that. I'm just kind of using that as an example. But you can go into a high population federal system. You're going to find high-grade emission signals. Inside those, you're going to have an equal chance of finding either core dynamics composites or proprietary composites or both. I think these spawn actually in the same signal source. So you're going to be collecting them both at the same time. So if you're looking to find imperial shielding, you need to do the same thing in imperial systems. You will never find core dynamics components, proprietary components inside an imperial system, and you will never find imperial shielding inside a federal system. Those two are mutually exclusive. The rest of them, you need to go in order here. So if, for instance, I'm searching for improvised components, I look through Inara, I find a faction that's in civil unrest, and I go to that system. If that system is an imperial system, the imperial shielding is above it in the list. So there's a much greater chance that that HGE I pop into is going to have imperial shielding in it and not improvised components, even if I'm in that signal that is for the civil unrest faction. So what you want to do for these that are based upon faction state, you want to be looking for these faction states in systems that are independent, because that way you're guaranteeing that you're never going to get core dynamics composites or imperial shielding, and any HGE you find is going to be based around what you're looking for here. Okay, so that's one of the first trick to finding these items is to go looking based upon the federal, imperial, or independent allegiance of the system. So if you're looking for these, go to federal. If you're looking for these, go to imperial. If you're looking for any of the rest, you need to be looking in independent systems. Okay, so now how do we separate these? Well, it says a civil unrest faction state. Okay, so if we're looking for this, we're going to be looking for a system that is independent, that has a faction that is in civil unrest. Now, we're going to be talking specifically about Outbreak here. So let's kind of start with it. So we're going to be looking for an independent system that has a faction state of Outbreak. This population thing here is a bit of a misnomer. I don't like the fact that they've added it here, but it is true. You're not going to get an outbreak. You're not going to get an HGE with an outbreak spawn in it in a system that has less than a population of 1 million people. However, really, you don't need to be focusing on that. You need to be focusing on the higher populations to begin with for all of these things that you're looking at. It's just there's a floor on the bottom of this. There's not a floor on some of the others. So, outbreak, faction state, population greater than 1 million, and an independent system. So let's go to Inara, and we're going to search nearest. And we're going to be looking for minor factions here. Okay, so our allegiance is independent. Okay, now we could do this in Pirate or Thargoids or Guardians, but why? The much greater allegiances here are independent, alliance, empire, and federation. So just pick independent. You're going to get yourself the most systems. If you don't find it there, you can go to alliance, because you won't find either of the empire or federation materials in those. So these are the two that you're looking at, but I start with independent. For my government, I don't really care what it is. My minor faction state needs to be outbreak. Okay, and there are additional options down here. So the minor faction present is in controlling, or is controlling under minor faction. Okay, so I want that faction that's controlling it to be the one that's in outbreak. And that's because most of the signal sources, unless you're in something like conflict, or which we're going to look at, or war, or something like that, most of the signal sources are going to be based around the controlling faction. So if you pop in and there's a HGE for a faction, any of the factions in the system could theoretically spawn that high-grade emission signal. The higher influence they have in the system, the greater their percent chance of being the owner of that signal, and as such, they may have that signal may be an outbreak. If you've got 5, factions in a system, the leading one's in outbreak, but you've got 2 others that are in boom, for instance, you may get a HGE that spawns from one of those factions that are not in control, and that would have these in it, not necessarily the one that you're looking for. So I tend to make sure that I'm focusing around the in controlling or is controlling factions for it. Now this is my home station, so I'm going to start looking around here, and I'm going to run a search. Now my population I set it to any right now. Okay, and actually, I think I did that wrong. Just controlling. I need this just controlling factions here. I don't need this one. It's just controlling factions here. So I left my population at any for right now. And now when I run a search, it's going to pop up a list of all of the star systems that have a faction that's in control. When it's gold, that means it has the most influence. So it's in control of the system. It's going to list the star systems that have a faction that is in control of it that is in outbreak. Okay, so this is the list that you kind of start with. And then what you do is you start opening up each one of these systems and seeing how good of a choice do we think it's going to be. So here, if we open up the star system and we look at it, this star system has 4 factions. The leading factions in outbreak, none of the others are in any state at all. This is and I didn't plan this, this is the perfect system to go looking in. You're never going to find a minor faction that is in boom or civil unrest or something like that, where they may have a small chance to take over the HGE. If we find a high-grade emission in this system, it's going to be an outbreak emission, and it's going to have pharmaceutical isolators in it. Period. End of story. There's no other thing that it could be. Now, the last thing you look at is how likely is an HGE to spawn here. And again, that's based upon population. This is 100 million population. So this is going to have a lot of signals in it. So we might have gotten really, really lucky here with this system. So this is not something I was expecting. Outbreak doesn't happen that often. And when it does, it's a fairly rare state for somebody to be in. And there's normally a lot of other states competing with it. But this looks perfect so far. If we pop in here and we actually find or we find a high-grade emission with pharmaceutical isolators, that will be streamer luck at that point, because it's normally not this easy. So let's go back to our game. And oh, yeah, it removed the apostrophe for some reason. Okay, and it's really close. We just need to plot to the system and make sure before you go that you're full up on limpets. And that's the meme, is always buy your limpets. So, and you'll see that actually on the station, on these boards, where it says Beluga over there on the right-hand side. In the middle, you'll see, don't forget your limpets on those boards. A pretty popular streamer for this years ago, who doesn't stream anymore on video games, he had merchandise that he used to sell, and he had a cup. A coffee mug, basically, and on the side of it, it said, don't forget your limpets. That was a really popular thing.
Your way is cleared for departure.
But yeah, it's a meme everywhere now. Okay, so what we're going to do when we head to this system is once we get to the system, we're immediately going to look for the nav beacon. And we're going to go scan the nav beacon. That is by far the quickest way to get information on all of the signal sources in the system. When you pop in, the signal sources are all going to say unknown signal source. And you can't tell which type of signal source you're going to until you hit the nav beacon and you go look at them. And this is we got this introduction when we were doing the gather materials for our power. I was hoping I was going to get lucky there. There's the nav beacon. It's around the back. Okay, so yeah, if we look here, you're going to see a whole bunch of unidentified signal sources out here. We need to identify what those are. Napster. Napster again. you don't have to do that. Again, thank you, as always, for that. So, again, Napster, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I really do appreciate that. Again, like I've said before, I'm never going to ask anybody for any of that sort of stuff, but I'm deeply appreciative for the support. Thank you very, very much. And yeah, now you're making me come up with new ways to try and list all of these people on the front page of my stream, Napster. So thanks for that. But all of you who have just received a gifted sub, I will be listing you on the stream and in the description of future streams coming up. So again, thank you very, very much, NapsterJoe, for that. I do appreciate it. So the support, as always, thank you very, very much. So let's jump back into Super Cruise and see if we have any high-grade emission signals that spawned. Okay, there might not be any. Even on high population systems, there might not be any. So let's just scroll through these and see if we see anything that says high-grade emissions. There we go, right there. 41,000 light years out. We're gonna lock it, and we have 8 minutes and 22 seconds to get out there to it. Okay, now, because there's only one faction in a single faction state in this system, we are guaranteed to get pharmaceutical isolators in this signal source. We're guaranteed to get it. So let's make our way in here. And we'll take a look at it. Yeah, it still always amazes me, the support that you all give to the channel. It's incredible, and thank you very much. So yeah, here we got very, very lucky. Now what I want to do is I'm changing my fire group here, because when I pop in here, I'm gonna have to have my collector limpets ready to go. Because I'm not gonna have a whole lot of time. I've only got 6 minutes here. Okay, and you're gonna see a whole lot of white dots that pop up. Okay, you want to kind of orient yourself in the middle of this field, open your cargo scoop, and deploy your collectors. And I've got 2 of them on here, and they're going to go out and they're going to start picking these things up and bringing them back. And you can see that they're all pharmaceutical isolators. Every one you pick up is just like every other material, in that you're getting 3 for every time you pick them up. So if we go to our inventory, you can see them going up. Now, y'all are lucky right now if you're playing this game. Look at all those white dots. Back in the day, when I started playing this game, you would get anywhere from 3 to a maximum of 7. The wiki said 6. It was wrong. You would get anywhere from 3 to a maximum of 7 of these items in a single source. And that was it. Then it was farmed out. And that meant that you had to do another gameplay loop where when you collected them all, you would quit the game, and I mean quit it out to your desktop, come back into the game, restart the game, you'd be back here. You go into Super Cruise, you immediately loop back around, and this unknown signal source, because you haven't scanned the nav beacon, it's a new game, would be right behind you, and you can pop back into it and farm it again. And you farm it until the timer runs out. Normally, if I leave this signal source right now, that signal source is gone. It doesn't matter how much time was left on it. It is now gone, and I can't farm anything more out of it. If you quit the game, though, the signal source stays, and the timer just keeps counting down. Okay, that's kind of how these are working, or how they work. And I'm going to be adjusting my ship position to kind of stay in the middle of all of these. So you would have to do that over and over and over again. So for instance, this one here that only had 6 minutes on it, I could only farm it like 3 times, I think. So it took about 50 seconds to do that gameplay loop, depending on how fast your computer was and everything else. But now you can see that I'm getting the message that pharmaceutical isolators are full. That was never the case back in the past. Never. They made this change a while ago in the Engineering 2.0 update. And we're going to learn some more about the other changes to that, because, like I say, y'all have it really lucky compared to those of us who have been playing this game since it launched. So if you find one signal source that has a single material in it, you're going to have enough time normally to fill up your entire inventory of that source. Okay. So that literally took me like 5 minutes to find the location, fly here, jump into it, and farm it, and I'm full. Okay. So this is quick for each individual item. There's just 10 different items that you have to get. So it does end up taking quite a bit. Okay. Now, while we're here, I'm going to just close my cargo scoop. I don't care that there are limpets out there. I'm full. I don't need anything else. So let's go to our display again. We'll go not to that. We'll go to the helper. And actually, we can clear this from our... we don't need this highlighted anymore. So just our materials. You see, we're now full pharmaceutical isolators. Okay, and we are full all the way down that list because I had previously filled this up. But what you normally do is you fill up once here, trade them all down to all of these, and you'll have like 4 left. And then you fill this up and you're done. So you only have to do these trips to each one of these things twice for the ones that have a single component in them. The one that have multiple components, sometimes it may take you 3 depending upon what the distribution is between them. Okay, so we got really, really lucky with pharmaceutical isolators here. So now we're going to do the next one on the list here, and I shouldn't have closed that, which is military grade alloys. So let's go to the wiki. Military grade alloys and military supercapacitors are both available in these faction states. So it's a random chance whether you're going to get one or the others. Now, I tend to find that military grade alloys tend to spawn a little bit more than military supercapacitors. I don't know why that is. It should be a 50-50 chance, but it's not, in my experience. They've never released the actual information behind the percentages and how they work here. But for military grade alloys, we're going to be also competing against military supercapacitors. So we may, whatever the first one is we jump into, we may find military supercapacitors. We need those. We're going to farm them. But then when we jump out and we drop into the next HGE, we may also find military supercapacitors again, and we now don't need them. So in that case, we're going to be jumping around trying to find the one that has high grade or military grade alloys in it. Now there is a more efficient way to do that, in that in these ones that have multiples, like these 3, if you fill up on military supercapacitors, and you still need military-grade alloys, you can trade your military supercapacitors into other things. And that way, when you jump into it again, you still need military supercapacitors, and you can find them, and you could do that back and forth. Trade off of them as you go. So that's kind of a way to be a little bit more efficient about it. And you'll kind of see that depending upon what happens when we jump in here. Oh, and hey, no worries. No worries. Thanks for being here, as always. And yeah, have a good evening. And again, thanks for the support. And if you need anything, just let me know. So we're going to be looking for war or civil war faction states to find these. Okay. So we're again going to go to our star system search. Okay, we're going to be looking for an allegiance of independent. Oh, we need to be going to star systems. An allegiance of independent. We need... No, sorry. Please, get this right. Minor factions. Allegiance independent, just controlling factions. And our minor faction state here is going to be war. And civil war. Now, this is going to find... It's going to, if we leave it all, it's going to look for a system that has factions in both of these. We don't want that. We want any, if we're going to do that. Okay, and again, we've left our population as nothing right now, but we'll kind of take a look at that as we go here. So we'll run a search. So here we go. So we'll take a look at this system and see what it is. So 50 million, it's got a lot of people, which is good. We're going to look down here and see that Brothers of Lung and Hutton Orbital Truckers Cooperative are both in war, but they're also in boom. So if we find an HGE that has their name on it, we could be getting a boom state for the materials that are in it. And if we look at HGE, boom could spawn any of these as well. So this is not a good location for us. Also, there's a chance that the Utopia Workers Party with expansion, see, expansion's not listed in, or it is, it's listed here. So that small percentage chance could spawn an HGE with their name on it, and we'd be again getting these. So this is not a great setup for this one. So let's go to the next one and look. So we've got war and expansion. So again, expansion is not great that it's there, but it's got 2 in war. So we'll kind of keep that in our back pocket. This has expansion. Expansion. War and expansion. Okay, so again, war and expansion. And you're going to find those two with each other quite a bit. And here we go. So this system here has only the war faction state active. It's only got 2.27 million people in it. But if we get an HGE to spawn here, it's guaranteed to give us one of these two states. Okay, so let's pop back in here. We'll paste that in. Plot a route.
Cannot comply. Collective bit expired.
so let's jump in here. And we'll again target the nav beacon and see if we can find any HGEs. So let's find the nav beacon. Wow, nav beacon's way down there. Okay, so it's on the other side. There's a lot of signal sources here, which is good for us, but whether or not it spawns a high-grade emission is really based upon population. So having a lot of signal sources is good, but doesn't necessarily mean that one of them is going to be one. Now again, like I said, you could pull out your full spectrum scanner and find all of these signal sources inside that. It's just a waste of time. It just takes way too long to do it. And you just come in here, scan the nav beacon. There's a little trick here. As soon as the scanning's done, immediately start your frame shift drive and boost. I don't change my throttle. Leave my throttle at 0. And use the boost to throttle up. And that way when I come out, I'm not going full speed. I'm going minimum speed so I can scroll through these and see if I can find anything. So let's look for high-grade emissions. What do you know? So this one is guaranteed to have what we need in it. We're getting really, really lucky. I can't believe that we've gotten this lucky. So this is guaranteed to have either military grade alloys or military supercapacitors, and we need them both. So whichever one we get filled up on, then there's a chance that we might not get what we're looking for. And because that's the case, when you're in these where you can get two materials in the same source or out of the same type of source, you immediately want to go trade these down, so that if I drop into the next source has the same exact one again, I can fill up completely on that. So again, I'm gonna open my cargo scoop. I'm gonna move up a little bit. I'm above this debris field. Get in the middle of it. And drop my 2 limpets. Okay, now we'll see what we're getting. We're getting military grade alloys. Okay, so, and that's kind of what I said. For some reason, military grade alloy seems to spawn more than military supercapacitors. So when we fill up on these, we immediately want to go look for our nearest material trader and trade these down, so that if we drop into another one of these looking for military supercapacitors and we find military grade alloys, it's not a waste of time. So I'm gonna copy that system while these are collecting, and we'll be ready to jump out here. So and we haven't been there before, so we'll plot that route. We'll be looking for Guy Main Station. And me positioning my ship like this just minimizes the travel time for the limpets, is all it's really doing. But we only have to collect 34 of these to be full up, because each one you get gets 3 and you're maxed out at 100, so. Very rarely you will actually come in here and you won't have enough to fill yourself up. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And if that's the case, if you really want to, you can do that trick I just told you about last time. Quit the game, come back in it, go into Super Cruise, go real slow when you're in Super Cruise. When you come out, immediately look in your contacts panel and you'll have an unidentified signal source that's going to be right next to you. And it'll be straight behind you. Select that one, come back into it, and you'll have a new group that will spawn and you can finish it up. Yeah, see, we're full again. Okay, so I'm going to close my cargo scoop, retract my hard points, and let's go trade these down. Now that we left that signal source is gone. It's no longer going to be there. So when we go back, we'll have to see if we can find another one. So we're now looking for a guy named Station. It's right here. Just to get away from the planet. Away from the star, rather. So we're approaching at the plane parallel to the plane of the ecliptic, which I don't like, but the station's lined up perpendicular to it, so let's make our approach and see where it is. Yeah, I can't tell. Why I don't like approaching from these angles. It's on the back side, on the far side of it, so. Okay, so we should be good to make our approach here. So yeah, I will say that this is, it's not normally this easy to find the locations. I'll be perfectly honest. We've gotten a little streamer luck here with these locations. So normally you'll jump in and there might not be an HGE at all. And you have to jump around to 3 or 4 different systems looking for one. Like I say, we've gotten really lucky with big population systems that have the faction states that we need, so it's not normally this easy. Just keep that in the back of your mind. I don't want to delude you into thinking that it's always this easy. So military grade alloys, we're now full. So let's trade these down. Okay, so we're traded down all the way, and we still have 21 military-grade alloys left. Okay, now since we're going back into those same HGEs again, it would make sense for us to trade these, to cross-trade these to something else. Okay, I don't think we're going to get 4. Yeah, so 2 are going to get us 3 here. So we might as well trade all of them away. Next time we drop into one, maybe we'll find them. So, and I don't think there's any that give me just 1. Yeah. Everything is going to need at least 2 when I'm cross-trading. So I'm going to be stuck with 1 here. That's fine though. Not too worried about that. Okay, so we're going to head back to that same system where we just were.
Landing restraints lifted. Maintain correct lane on exit.
Landing gear retracted.
That was the correct system, right? Nope, it wasn't. Going to the HR system that was on the map.
We hope to see you again, Commander.
Right here. HR 2548. Yes, that's the correct one. Yeah, see, I didn't think I'd gone 2 jumps to get back, so let's jump back into the system. We will again hit the nav beacon, find all of them, and see if we have any more HGEs here. And over time, the signals are client-based. They are not server-based. So the information's kept here for me and me only, and or people that are in the same wing as you, if you're grouped up in a wing. They are not kept on the server. So what I'm seeing for signal sources here is not going to be the same as what you may see, even if you're playing in open with me. So what that means is that as in the upper right hand corner where you see it says 1 new contact, and you'll see 2 contacts disappeared or 2 contacts lost, new contact, those are not just ships. Those are also signal sources popping up and disappearing as their timers runs out. So leaving the system and coming back does not necessarily reset the signal sources. They're on timers that are kept on your client. Now, if you jump far enough away, it's not going to keep signal sources for every system you've been to. That would be resource intensive. So if you jump far enough away, it will reset the signal sources in previous systems. But logging out and that sort of stuff does not do that. Resetting your game probably would do it. Charge. As soon as we come out, we'll be going minimum speed. And again, let's start looking for high-grade emissions. There we go. Only 4 minutes, so and this is where the SCO drive really shines, because back in the day, I couldn't make this trip out here in 4.5 minutes to get to this signal source. You were constantly finding signal sources like that that you couldn't even reach. It was annoying. Alright, loop of shame. But the SCO drive makes it trivial to get out here to these places. So it makes, like I say, it's hard to overstate how easy we all have it now playing the game nowadays versus when we started. So again, we'll pop in here. We will drop our cargo scoop. We will pop out a couple of limpets, and we'll position our ship and start collecting, and we'll see which one we get. Now, I only normally cross-trade that one time. If we get military-grade alloys again, I'm going to fill up on them, but I'm not going to go trade them. I'm not going to go cross-trade them again. It's not worth it. Okay, so I'm going to drop this. I'm going to pop out a couple of limpets and get my ship positioned. Right here in the middle of the debris field. I can drop down a little bit. And we're getting military supercapacitors this time, so I will go trade these down. Yeah, we are getting... Starting to believe that streamer luck's actually a thing. Because it takes me normally 3 or 4 before I find military supercapacitors, but I found them right off the bat here, so. Pharmaceutical isolators. A couple of systems that have only the faction state in them that we're looking for with high populations. And I'm finding military supercapacitors, so. Okay, so it hit one of my collector limpets hit some debris, so I'm going to pop out another one. I might be sitting with some debris right below me. I may have gotten... There is some debris in this field that is actually has a hitbox. Most of it does not. But there are some pieces that do, and sometimes your limpets will run into them if you position your ship right above one of them and it can't reach the cargo scoop below you. And I can't remember my... Left control, left alt, and space. Okay, that's an interesting set of... Okay. So you can see the limpets coming in and out of my cargo scoop, which is right below the ship. So you can see that debris that's out there. Some of it actually is solid. So if you position your ship where the debris is right below your cargo scoop, they'll run into it. Yeah, and it might have been that piece of debris right there in front of me that was just below me. So it should be just about getting close. Yep. Okay, so again, because this is... We're still looking for both, we're going to go trade these down. There we go, we're full. Retract. And we're going to go to Varpet again.
Collector limpet expired.
We can actually lock the station this time.
Frameshift drive charging.
And every time you have a limpet out there like that, and you jump away or you go into Super Cruise, you lose the limpet. You don't get it back. So this is why I just stock up fully on limpets before I go. You normally won't use all of them, even to fill up all of your materials. And just to get away from the star. And I already know that this is around the backside. That should be about good. Try and bring that station a little bit closer lined up on me. Here, wait till we get to 7.5 kilometers.
Sorgan Peterson, India, Romeo, uniform. Please ensure you follow standard docking procedures before landing.
Almost perfect. I'm gonna have to relearn how to do this once I...
Trespassers will be dealt
What
with.
happened?
Leave the area now.
I'm gonna gain fines the entire time I'm sitting in here, and I definitely want to get out before that timer runs out. I thought I requested docking. So I'm not gonna be able to...
Request denied.
Yeah, I need to clear... Yeah, there's the 17 seconds remaining on my infractions. I just wasn't paying attention.
Landing permission denied.
So, should be able to do it here.
Access denied. Resubmit request within Ringo Station.
Wonder what happened there. I guess I just maybe did it too early. I just wasn't paying attention. That happens to me more often than not. I get in a habit because I've been landing at these stations for 10 years. Docking request granted. I normally don't wait to see it, and I normally don't pay attention to that landing pad number in the bottom until I'm already lined up and I'm about to enter the station. So complacency breeds mistakes. Should have listened to all my drill sergeants more. Alright, so once we land, we're going to be restricted here. We need to pay off our fines first. So to do that, you go to contacts. You see all these are grayed out. Go to administrative contacts. Go down to fines. Pay them off. And now you'll have access to the full services here. So now we're again looking for military supercapacitors, so let's trade these down. Wow, okay, those two are full up. And this should need 60 something, or 50? Yeah. So I've got 21 military supercapacitors left, so again, I'm going to just trade these over. Might as well fill up as many of these bottom ones as I can. And this is going to take me 2. So I'll be stuck with one of these again. Not a problem. Let's head back. Can refuel. And we'll see if we can we're going to keep farming this until we don't find any more HGEs. So
Detachment complete. Exit station.
we found a good system here. Whoops. Ooh, I almost blew it. Almost blew it, chat. I was a little low coming out of it, so I tried to translate up a little bit to line up better with the mail slot and almost choked it. Almost choked it. And that's going to happen. You're going to see it happen. I'm going to try and boost out of a station like I shouldn't, and I'm going to be face to face with a Type 10 Defender or a Type 9 Heavy or something like that, and I'm going to get jammed up in the mail slot and get killed or get stuck or something. You're going to see it happen. Okay, so again, nav beacon. Okay, so it's behind us, so I'm going to immediately drop my speed. Once it scans, throw the frame shift drive and just boost away, get rid of the inhibition. See if we can find some more HGEs. There we go. This is 163,000 light seconds out, and there's only like 9 minutes left. This would take something like 7 minutes, give or take, of flight time to get out to it. 7 to 10 minutes. The conversion is really old. I go off of the 500 light second number, which is one of the farthest in the game. And it takes like 26 minutes to get out there. But SCO just makes these numbers trivial now, so. Another reason why I definitely got the Mandalay, and while I definitely upgraded it how I did before I started this grind. Need to drop some more speed. Having all this jump range, having the SCO drive makes this grind and every other grind in the game just that much easier. So, if you haven't gone back to watch the previous grinds about how to outfit your ship, I definitely go do it before you start getting into this. And let's see what we find in here. I'm guessing military-grade alloys. If I find military supercapacitors, then it's definitely scripted. The streamer luck is definitely a thing. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna pop out a couple of limpets. These are military-grade alloys. Because there's no debris in here. Oh, there's debris. Go to the middle of the field. And we're getting supercapacitors again. That's crazy. Okay, so while those are collecting, we will go over to the material helper again. And again, now that we're full on all of these, we're not going to trade these down or cross-trade them while we're here. It could make sense, since we found a really good system here. It could make sense to actually sit here and cross-trade these, but it's so inefficient because of the 6 times loss in these that it's more efficient for me to now try and look for another high-grade emission that has military-grade alloys in it to try and finish this off. If we pop into one and it has military supercapacitors, we just can't use it. It will be a waste of time, but it's not nearly as big a waste of time as cross-trading these over to something else, when once we get to searching for core dynamics composites or imperial shielding or something like that, we'll be able to find them really easy. So in this one, we're going to get filled up here, and then we're going to be looking for more high-grade emissions that just have military-grade alloys in them. Looks like we'll have enough to get filled up. Like I say, it doesn't happen very often, but I have had it happen a couple of times when I'm completely empty, that the high-grade emission won't have enough materials in it to fill you up. It's just pretty rare. So yeah, we have gotten pretty lucky with our systems. With systems that currently, or the system states, or the faction states, and the systems that we've been looking for the materials we've been looking for. So that's been one big thing. We found pharmaceutical isolators right off the bat, which is the hardest one to find because of the outbreak system or faction state. And we've been really lucky with this system here to be able to find only the war state. So let's hope our luck holds, and when we pop into Super Cruise, we'll see if there are any more high-grade emissions in this system or not. And if there are, we will hope it has military-grade alloys in it. Alright, so we're full, so close cargo scoop. Retract our hard points. And let's go looking and see if there are any more high-grade emissions in the system. And there's one right there. Okay. Well. Oh, and it just disappeared. The timer ran out, but there's another one right there. It's pointed right at it. Timed it almost perfect. I'm not going to say my SCO skills are getting better because I'm still horrible at judging it. It's just pure luck at this point. Alright, now let's see if we get military-grade alloys here. I'm hoping that we do. Like I said, I think we've been really lucky to find 2 military supercapacitors right off the bat like this. When military-grade alloys tends to spawn more than those, so hopefully it is, but maybe our good luck in finding more military supercapacitors will actually work against us in this case by not giving us what we want. Military supercapacitors, what do you know? Jeez, okay. So in that case, again, I'm not even going to farm anything. I'm just going to jump out. See if there's another HGE around here. There's a bunch. This is what happens in high population systems. So I'm hoping that one of these is going to have military grade alloys in it. Just shed a little speed. Okay, chat, let's cross our fingers here. Military grade alloys, military grade alloys. Outstanding. Actually, I shouldn't have done that because I'm going to lose a collector doing that. When you come into these, you don't want to have anything targeted. I think I explained, well, I might not have explained this about collector limpets. If you, like that first one there, if you have something targeted, when you launch your collector limpet, it's going to go pick that thing up, come back, and destroy itself. If you don't have anything targeted, like right now, that collector limpet's going to go out and it's going to try and collect anything it can. And once it drops it off, it's going to go out and get something else. There are reasons for that behavior in the game. It's just not something that's applicable right now to the gameplay loop that we're looking at right here. But it is definitely a useful thing. There are times that you don't want your limpets picking up like black market contraband and stuff like that. So you want to be selecting specific things for them to go after. And stuff like that. Like I say, there's a couple of other gameplay loops where it really does matter. So when you come into the system and you target something to see if it's going to be useful or not, immediately untarget, but move up and point away and untarget it before you launch your limpets. Otherwise you're just going to waste one. But we started this gameplay loop about an hour and 15 minutes ago, and we are now completely full on 3 out of the 10 manufactured materials. Okay, and arguably we're full up on the hardest one to find, pharmaceutical isolators. So I am not telling you it's going to be this fast. You can't extrapolate that and go, we're a third of the way done and it's taken us an hour and 15 minutes, so this grind is only going to take, 4 hours. It's not. But this grind is generally, if you're doing the meta methodology of raw material farming, where you're out there with a flat cannon and a bunch of limpets. That takes about 3 hours. For me, it takes about 10 to fill up on those. For the data, again, it takes about 12 if you're doing the Jameson loop to do it. The manufactured material grind normally takes you somewhere around that 8 to 10 as well, depending upon how lucky you get with your sources. This one's probably going to take me about 6 to 7 maybe, if I had to guess, because I've got a bunch of the hard ones out of the way. But don't, oh, and there might not be enough in this to fill up. I might actually run into one of those rare cases. How much do we have in military grade alloys? We're 1 short. Okay. I'm not really worried about being 1 short. I'm not going to be farming any more of these. So while we're here, I'm going to retract my hard points and retract my cargo scoop. And let's go back and look at the next thing on our list. So we're effectively full here. So proto heat radiators is the next thing on our list. And if we look at what that is, proto heat radiators are found in a signal source all by themselves. They're kind of like military supercapacitors and military grade alloys in that if you drop into one, you're only going to find proto heat radiator. If you find proto heat radiators, that's all that's going to be in that signal source. These are a little different though. When you pop into a signal source and you find proto, or no, it's proto heat and proto light that are together. Proto radiolic is separate. When you drop into a signal source and you see proto light, you're also going to be farming proto heat. So these two are in the same signal source. These are all by themselves in a signal source. So this one's going to work a little bit like this, but also a little bit differently because we're farming a lower grade material at the same time we're farming a higher grade material. Now if we look at our material helper, proto heat radiators are here, proto light alloys are here, proto radiolic are here. So if we find proto heat and proto light, we're farming in 2 different trees at the same time as well. So again, depending on which one we find, if we fill up with proto heat and proto light, we're going to trade those down. Actually, we can't trade them down. Yeah, we can trade them down here. Oh yeah, we can trade all of these down. We can trade them all down and get rid of them at the same time that we trade all of these down to get rid of those. Proto radiolic, again, you're going to find all by themselves. So let's do our Inara search. And we're looking for boom or expansion faction states. So let's change our search. And we're going to remove this. And we're going to go to boom. And expansion. Okay, if we leave it all, we can see if it's going to pop up things that have both of those. But you really want it to be any. Here, and we're going to run a search. Okay, so Dazbog, let's open this tab up. All we have is expansion in here. What's the population? Not very much. Okay, so I'm going to keep this on the back burner and see if we can find something with more population that has only those 2. Good. And that has 2 million. That's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. So let's go check it. Now, since this only has expansion, we are guaranteed, if there's an HGE there, we're guaranteed to find something that we want. But these are, like I say, a little low population, so there might not be a lot of signal sources, and that means there might not be a lot of high-grade emissions. Let's go look.
Fuel scooping. Frameshift drive charging.
And the other thing that I find tends to help out a little bit, and I don't have any basis behind this other than just critical usage, is that if there are a lot of planets that are separated by large distances, like you have groups of planets in various places, it tends to spawn groups of signals around those. Is that the nav beacon? It's right there. So having multiple planet groupings tends to,
Disengaged.
in my experience, and again, I have no real evidence for that. I don't need to scan this since I'm about to get all the information from the nav beacon, but multiple groups of planets tends to spawn more signals in my opinion, but it is pure opinion. I have no basis in fact for that. Okay, so we'll scan. Get our frame shift drive and boost.
3, 2, 1. Engage.
And let's see if we find any. Okay, we didn't find any here. Okay, there are no high-grade emissions in this, so we will go back to Inara and we'll continue on down the list. Okay, so another one here. Less population, but we'll check it as well.
Frameshift drive charging.
And this is kind of what the search normally looks like. You won't find those big 100 million and 50 million population systems like we've been feasting on a little bit ago. Searching through these smaller population systems, you may have to go to a few different ones before you find a high-grade emission.
Fuel scooping.
There's the nav beacon. Oh. It keeps moving on me.
Fuel scoop disengaged. Fuel scooping.
There are a lot of signal sources here. But it is still a low population, so. And that's what tends to affect how many high-grade emission signals you get.
Frameshift drive charging.
All right, let's see what we got.
3, 2, 1. Engage. Fuel scooping.
None here either. So now this is more like what I'm used to seeing from this search. So, okay, so let's open up our next one. That one is way too small. Not even gonna think about it. Okay, and that's a good population. So here we go. Well, let's go here. We'll copy that over.
Frameshift drive charging.
Gonna take some heat damage here. I was sitting next to the star for a long time when I was just outside the nav beacon. But nothing big. Yeah, I saw the nav beacon there. It's on the far side. Alright, so we've got a better chance here because of the much higher population, so let's see if we can get lucky. It would be nice if we found multiple HGEs since we're looking for multiple different materials here. And since we've got a high-grade emission that has multiple materials in it, you're going to need at least 2 to fill up on those materials. Okay, let's see what we got. Nope. Struck out on this one too. I had high hopes for this one. This one's also in a power conflict. Which I could sort out, but it's normally not worth it to do. Okay. So 10 million. It's kind of crazy. I'm finding a problem on a boom and expansion material when it's really the... This isn't normally one of the difficult ones. This is that RNG paying me back, I guess. This is like my dice rolls in the D&D games I play. The karma is going to come back and get me. Is All right, let's end the stream on a high note here by getting some materials. Let the beacon scan finish, charge, boost, and let's look at our contacts panel, or our navigation panel. There we go. We've got at least 2. What's the time on this one? 35 minutes. This one's 9. Let's go to the 9-minute one first. Alright, so we're going to be able to farm some more here, so... Alright, let's drop in. Okay, and these are Proto Light and Proto Heat. A mixture.
Deployed. Programming limpet drone.
So we had a big piece of debris right in the middle of this.
Programming limpet drone.
Let's go in the middle of the field. So up there on the right, Proto Light alloys. Oh, and Proto Radiolic. I thought Radiolic was by itself. I'm almost positive that used to be by itself. They may have redone that in the engineering thing, because it didn't make any sense to be crossing lines like that. Because I'm 90% positive Radiolic used to be by themselves. Proto Heat and Proto Light used to be in the same signal sources, but they're in different groups, so it never really made any sense. They may have changed that when they did the engineering redo. Because yeah, this makes more sense to be collecting 2 in the same group, in the same line here, in the same group, as opposed to having Proto Heat and Proto Light being in different groups that you're collecting. Because yeah, I'm even more positive, 99% positive that Radiolic used to be by itself. But no, it's good that they changed that. Like I say, I haven't done these collections in a really long time. I haven't gone to farm these things out because I've had all of my ships. They didn't start releasing new ships until fairly recently in the game. So I've had all my ships and engineered what I need to for a long time. So I haven't really been doing these gameplay loops in probably 5 years. 4 or 5 years. So it's good to see these changes that y'all are experiencing. Yeah, I'll be anxious to see how many we get, because there's a bunch of materials here. This is a larger group than what was in the previous ones as well. So I'm wondering if because you're collecting 2 different materials in the same HGE, they boosted those numbers up a little bit. So I'll be anxious to see how many we collect here. And I'm kind of watching the time too, because we came in here with like 8 minutes left. If we don't fill up on this, and there's still time left on this signal source, I'm going to try the quitting game trick and see if that still works. There's a lot of stuff to collect here, so I don't even know if it'll be finished before that timer will run out. And you might hear, I don't know if it's going to get through my noise gate or not, but suddenly the smoke detector and battery in my kitchen has run out, so there's an intermittent beep going on. Okay, so we're at halfway on both. 81 Proto Light and 48 Proto Radialic. So there seems to be more Proto Light in here than Proto Radialic, which makes sense. There's normally more of the lower grades. Proto Light's full. They're not full. I've got the bug where... Okay, yeah. So that worked. So it reset it. That, because it got to 100 and it said there was no more space. If I go look here at Proto Light, yeah, it's now reset itself to 150. So if you try and farm something, and you pick it up, when you're at that limit, it resets the limit, just like logging out does. Okay, so I'm not going to be full here. So what I'm going to do is, once this last collector limpet pops in here, I should still have time in the signal source. So I'm going to exit. Screen's going to go black while this happens. And then I'm going to restart and see if this little gameplay loop still works or not. I'm just waiting for the game to quit here. Okay, so now it's going to be restarting. I'll be anxious to see if this still works or not. Okay, and here it's restarting. I have a fairly fast PC, so the loading and that sort of stuff is fairly short. So we'll continue. Again, we'll go into solo play. Now when we pop in, we're going to be just in normal space, just sitting there. So what we're going to do is we're going to immediately activate our frame shift drive and boost like we do in a nav beacon. What just happened here? Okay. We're going to immediately activate our frame shift drive and boost, and you want to have your throttle at 0 when you enter Super Cruise. And what you do is we're going to immediately look at our left panel, our navigation panel, and somewhere around 25 million meters from us, we should see an unidentified signal source. And we're going to activate it and drop back in it. If this gameplay still works and the timer hasn't run out. I don't think the timer's run out, but this has taken a long time to load here. Normally doesn't take this long to load, so I'm wondering if I'm getting a connection error. It would be that I get a connection error when I'm trying to illustrate one of these loops. Yeah, I think we've gotten a connection error here. So, and by the time we drop back in, the signal source timer would have probably run out. The other one that had 35 minutes on it, we may have been able to demonstrate it some more, but yeah, it looks like the game is probably going to give me a connection error here. And I doubt we're going to have enough time left on that 8-minute timer to drop back in here, but we'll see. We'll try it out as the last thing we do on stream here today, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just my luck that we get a DC right before while we're trying to beat a timer. Yep. We've been getting a lot of those since operations launched. A lot of those. Alright, so here we're going to immediately frame shift drive and then boost.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Immediately go to your left panel. And yeah, see that unidentified signal source is way too far away. If it was still there, it would be the first thing listed, and it would be like 25 million meters away. So either the timer ran out, or that gameplay loop no longer works. It no longer functions in the game. I don't know if they patched it out during the engineering update or not. It's something that I'll check on off stream. Now that I'm into the material farming grind, I'll check it off stream and see if it's still in the game as a mechanic or not. So, but either way, that brings us to the end of the live stream today, and that's a good spot for us to end. I'm gonna, like I mentioned, I'm gonna continue farming these up this week off stream, so that when we come back, we're going to be full of encoded data and manufacturing data. Like I say, there's probably another 10 hours worth of me farming encoded data. So it's going to be a bit of a grind. The manufacturing, there's probably 5-ish hours left on that grind as well. So I'm going to put some work in this week to finish that up so that next week we can start engineering our Mandalay to get it to the final build that we want it to be. We are probably going to get a new community goal next week, starting on Thursday. They kind of teased us and hinted that there would be a distribution effort here coming up, and we may have some stuff happening with that. So we'll kind of see what happens next week and how that community goal plays out, and it may affect what we do as far as buying ships and that sort of stuff. So, but we'll get into that next week on Thursday at the first live stream of the week time. So, as always, thank you all for being here. Again, to all of the new members that have been a membership gifted by NapsterJoe, welcome to NapsterJoe again. Thank you very, very much for the gift of the memberships. I very much appreciate that. I don't ever ask for any of that sort of stuff on my stream. You will never hear me ask for a like or subscribe or to become a member, but for everyone who does those things, I do very, very much appreciate it. I thank you profusely, and it's always amazing to me the level of support that my community has given me. I do very much appreciate it and am humbled by it, because as I always say, without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.